All right, welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on Trust TV. Now, moving on to the next discussion, which is on third force. This is what we will be talking about right now. Uh, Hello, good morning. We have our guest online already with us. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Adewale Adebayo. Adewale Adebayo is a presidential aspirant under the platform of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. Um, Thank you once again for joining us. One issue going into the 2023 election is that the yearning, or so to say, by Nigerians to have a third force, that is an alternative away from the two dominant political parties in the country. But there are also misgivings that a third force is not yet ready. How ready are platforms like yours to give these two parties a run for their money to actually put them on their toes and compete for them in the upcoming election?
Well, the situation in the country is glaring to everyone uh, that the two political parties that for 23 years have been given the opportunity to showcase what they have to offer to the Nigerian people have failed. That is not controversial. What we also need to realize is that because of the low participation of Nigerians in the two political parties, the entire population of Nigeria has a majority that belongs to the third force. Because if you use any metric, whether it's political party membership, whether it is the number of people who have served in and out of government in the past 23 years, or if it's in election turnout of voters, you will see that those who belong to these political parties, who have been in government, who regularly vote for them, are about 10% of the population. So 90% of the electorate actually has been looking for a third force for a long time. So what we are doing at this time are three things. One, we are articulating the urgency of the matter, given the fact that daily, hourly, we find out that the government of the day and the majority alternative to it have no solutions to the problems we are facing and escalating. Second, we're trying to get the third force to coalesce together because so far, what has happened is that the third force is splintered and people are not articulating together and building a platform to bring strong political candidates to rival the status quo. Thirdly, we are starting early, not waiting for a crash program a few months to the election, and then we're now coming out. Those are the things we are doing. And I believe that in the environment where the Electoral Act has been improved upon, where the electoral systems have also brought in some improvements, and where there is abject hopelessness at this time, and where the evidence of non-performance and malfeasance is obvious. I think the Nigerian people will give the third force and led by the Social Democratic Party an opportunity to, to give hope again to the Nigerian people.
He said that no single party is strong enough to dislodge the PDP and the APC without a broad-based coalition. Is this true?
It will be easier to do that because with a coalition, because in a democracy, you need to win majority And some of the people who are in different political parties from SDP, many of them, first, we all uniformly agreed that there should be not neither of the two big parties to come back. So we agreed 50% of the way. And when you look at the program content and the prescription for leadership qualities, you will see that we basically agree. So what we'll be trying to do is to remove the ego part of it, where you say it has to be me, it has to be me, I'm more educated than you, I look better than you, I talk better than you, I have more resources than you. We try to remove those artificial differences and say, broadly, we agree that it will be a disaster of monumental proportion to allow either of these two political parties who have ruined everything to continue to come back and ruin more, because there isn't much more to even ruin anyway. So next to that is that we all agree that the country needs a freshness that it has not got before. And given this kind of case that we're making to the Nigerian people, there isn't any reason for us to confuse them with too many good candidates running against one another. So we thought that the best thing to do is to talk, and we've managed so far. You would notice that in this season, on the side of the third force political parties, we've had far fewer presidential candidate aspirants. It's on the other side that they have tens of them. On our side, we have much fewer, and we are not in a secular firing squad shooting against one another. We're actually maintaining the same message to the Nigerian people that there should be none of these other parties. There should be no APC, there should be no PDP, for the sake of your children and grandchildren, to save yourself from being a refugee in your own country and from getting worse and being a refugee outside your own country, to stop your economy from going to total collapse, which is heading to save yourself from kleptocracy and daylight robbery, to be able to stop a situation where 90%, I'm told now, it used to be 75% of your crude oil is actually being stolen, and the government is looking away, and people in government are making criminal amount of money, to avoid a situation where you are home and you are not able to go out because the bandits is likely to attack you when you go out. When you are within the city, even in a city like Abuja or Lagos, you're having people.
Mr. Adebayo,
Yeah, yeah.
can you hear me? All right, so now you talked about Nigeria needing some freshness. Now, what is that fresh, believable, what is that fresh thing and believable thing that you're bringing to that the SDP is bringing to the table, that is worth the attention and membership of disappointed Nigerian electorates?
Okay, number one, the freshness we're bringing in is fresh personnel, because people who, if you notice in the two political parties, just do a census of it. Since 1999, it's the same people. Whether one party comes to power or the other, they are the same people. So the chairman of the APC now used to be a governor under PDP, and the PDP chairman now and some of his people used to serve under APC. They were with them last time. So long and short of it is this, that you have freshness, because with freshness, you have fresh attitude, because the government is run by people. And if you have the same people who behave the same way, looking for the same thing, you cannot say you have a change. Just that they have a change of slogan or symbol without changing the people. So we are bringing fresh people. Secondly, we are bringing fresh idea. And the fresh ideas we are bringing are as follows. For security, you need a commander-in-chief who is abreast of security and who is aware that the security crisis in Nigeria is not a necessary security crisis, but that the people in the security sector have turned it into a business and they are trying to perpetuate it, and it will have many dimensions. You will see worse dimensions soon unless you address that, because once it's a peer situation. Once people found out that their peers are making a hell of money out of a bad situation, they too will follow suit. And that is what's happening. You will see that it's obvious that the economy is being mismanaged. The central bank has become part of the political party, and that's why their head is also being touted to be one of the aspirants. You would also see that the currency is falling apart. So you would also see that uh, petrol, the petrol that we are supposed to, crude oil that we're supposed to use as our revenue is being stolen. So we are bringing in an idea which arrests all of this. If you don't arrest these things, you'll be talking about them forever.
Nigerians
I,
have for platforms like yours is that while you show initial seriousness as the election comes close, these parties like yours get either hijacked by one of the major parties or they sell out to some of these major parties. How is it? What assurances are you giving that the 2023 scenario is not going to be the same?
in 2023 will not be the same because, one, the problems of the country are not the same. This is not an election year in which you run out of pleasure or just to make a name. You are running to save your life. In times past, you will not find someone like me in any political party. I will typically be in my law office practicing law, and if politicians have court problems or legal problems, they come to me. But my life is at stake. The life of my mother is at stake, of my children is at stake. So there is no room for compromise. Any Nigerian who is sitting on the fence or who is trying to play games in this political season is actually attempting suicide because a week before the bomb blast on the train, I was on the train. I take the train regularly. So if I could have been there, I could have been dead. So there's nothing funny. If you are at your house, as I'm talking to you, I'm getting messages from various people saying they are attacked at home, someone is missing. There is nothing to joke about. So this is a very serious season. And in our political party, we are always serious people. In 1993, SDP with MQ Abiola won the June 12th election. That is what we want to replicate now and improve upon. We are not in the mood for games. And people like us, if you just need to just search our background, we have never been part of such nonsense in the past, and we will never be. What we are doing now, if we find someone like me coming out saying, I want to be president, not that I want to be a councillor or governor or senator, I want to be president. You show to you that I have seen that there is no qualified person in the main political parties who would be able to help us. So we young people need to come out and be bold and be practical and realize that problems go away when you solve them. Any good person who is patriotic, who is knowledgeable, who is competent, who is energetic, and who is very bold will solve our problems. They are not they are not so difficult to solve. The problem is that those who are there now have formed a habit of using these problems to share money and to play around. And when occasionally it boomerangs, they will look sad for a week or so, but immediately after, they go back to the normal thing that government money is meant to be shared and government property is meant to be looted. And that is what is killing us. The bandits in Nigeria are not impervious to bullets. They're not that
So,
hard.
Mr.
Just
Adep
that those who are running the system are joking with it, and we are coming out to stop that.
Mr. Adebayo, one issue is that of resources, the funding for activities like electioneering activities, which is, you know, quite intensive. How are you going to surmount that challenge of funding for a party like yours and for a country as vast as Nigeria to finance a presidential election?
Okay, there are four ways we are tackling that. Number one, you need to know that elections are not won on the pages of newspaper or TV studios or radio. They are won in the polling unit. The problem the parties had before was that they were not present in each of the 186,000 plus polling units. So that is where the problem lies. You must be present in the polling unit. You cannot be in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, and start saying you are this and that. You must be present, and we are present. Second, you must know the difference between necessary money in politics, legal money, and criminal money. If you remove the money for bribery, the money for mischief, the money for buying votes, and all of that, the legitimate money is easy to find, because it is not one person who wants to be president who has to have a bullion van and who has to have robbed a bank before. What the person needs to do is to be a credible, serious person and have at least 3 million people making a contribution to the campaign. And that's what we are having. You cannot be president of Nigeria unless millions of Nigerians want you to be. And if they want you to be, two things will happen to you. They will not ask you to give them money before they do things for you. Second, they would contribute money where ordinarily, if they don't believe in you, they will say it's your personal affair and you will have to send them money even to paste posters. In our own case, you will see very funny looking pictures of mine on many walls of the country. People just go to the internet, download any picture they can find, and make posters out of them. So they may look funny and awkward, but to me, it signals that people are not waiting for you to send them uh, posters. I had people almost fighting with me last night because they said they were looking for my poster they can't find. And I'm sure it's not only me, there are other people who are having the same experience. So money is not going to be our problem. Since we are not trying to bribe INEC, we're not trying to bribe police, we're not trying to bribe voters, how much money do you need? So I think that um, we will do very well and money politics will be defeated this time around. So we are not intimidated by that.
All right, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak today, Prince Adewale Adebayo. Thank you so much. We hope to have you again next time.
It's a pleasure. I'm grateful to you.